What's up and welcome to FPL Today. My name is JNO, welcome to the channel and welcome to another FPL transfer window 2 days in a row on day 16 of 30 days of FPL. Now we're quickly going to cover the transfers in the next day or two as well as previously, just to get them done and out the way so we can move on to the next series on this channel. But today it's some big transfers we have to talk about, and we're starting off with a massive one to Chelsea. I think you know who it is. But before we get into this video, if you love FPL content and you want to have daily content in your sub box for the lead-in to the Premier League season, then consider subscribing to the channel and let's get on with the video. So the first piece of business we're covering is Alvaro Morata. I hope I said that right. Probably haven't. You know the deal. Get over it. So he has moved from Real Madrid to Chelsea for £70 million. That is a massive transfer fee for potentially a very, very good striker in the Premier League. But we don't know. There's always a risk when you bring a player into the Premier League that they won't perform. I personally believe that this could be a very risky bit of business for Chelsea. They needed a striker to replace Diego Costa. Diego Costa was a huge success in my eyes, a great striker for the Premier League, and Chelsea did really well to get him off of Atletico Madrid. Alvaro Morata, from what I know, could potentially be a great striker in the Premier League, but I wouldn't be as confident as I was when Diego Costa moved. Now, a lot of people may scoff at that, but I just get a really nagging feeling that Alvaro Morata has been brought in for 70 million and he may not be worth it. But tomorrow there will be an FPL player analysis of Alvaro Morata, and then we'll get a bit more in depth into it. But for the 2016-2017 season, he had 14 appearances for Real Madrid with 15 goals and 4 assists, which is a very good return considering he wasn't necessarily considered a first team player at Real Madrid. His shots per game was at 2.1 and his key passes was at 0.7. His man of the match awards, he only got 1 and he got an average rating of 7.17. Now those are all very good stats. If he had 30 games, potentially he could have scored 30 goals according to these stats. So there is a sign there that he could be a great striker. And me personally, looking at that Chelsea side, I feel like the safest bet to have a nailed on player is probably that striker position. Diego Costa pretty much held it down. Eden Hazard will probably keep his space. But other than those two, as far as attacking players go in that Chelsea team, I feel like it could chop and change quite a bit. It's at least with the attacking players. So me personally, I'm excited about Morata, especially at his price. I believe he's come in at 10 million. So that is a very good price for a striker in a Chelsea side. But I just have a nagging feeling that it may not be as good a bit of business as the Chelsea fans are hoping for. I could be proven wrong. That's very, very possible. We shall see. Hindsight is a wonderful thing and I may regret making this video, but I am worried about Alvaro Morata, and I also think because of that I will be staying clear of him as a fantasy Premier League asset. The next bit of business we have to cover is another Real Madrid player moving to the Premier League, and this Real Madrid player has moved to Man City for 26.9 million, and his name is Danilo, a right back from the Real Madrid team. Danilo was brought in to kind of try and replace Carvajal. It obviously didn't seem to work out that well considering they were willing to move him on as quickly as they have. But Danilo has a great reputation in the game as a right back. It has, however, put a question mark on Kyle Walker. Now Kyle Walker was bought for 50 million. Danilo bought for 26.9. There's the potential for rotation there, especially with so many games in a season when you have the Champions League, 2 cups and the Premier League. However, Man City have a record of buying English players and their potential being wasted. Now I'm not saying Kyle Walker is a potential great England player, he is a great English right back, but I now worry that Kyle Walker was brought in because they thought they weren't going to get Danilo and then they could get Danilo, so they brought him in. It could be the other way around. Danilo could have been brought in to be Kyle Walker's understudy, but both seem to me like they're too good to be understudies to each other, and it's raised a massive question mark in another Man City position. There's so much rotation there, which Man City player can you pick? I now don't feel like I can rely on Kyle Walker starting, and I don't feel like I can rely on Danilo starting, so it's made a murky situation even murkier. Looking at the 2016-2017 season for Danilo at Real Madrid, he had 17 appearances for the side, getting 1 goal and 2 assists. A decent return, but nothing spectacular, especially compared to Kyle Walker's 5 assists last season, but Kyle Walker had more games. His shots per game was at 0.6, his key passes however was at 1.1. Man of the match awards he got none, but his average rating was quite good at 7.41. Now it could turn out that at some point in the season one of these two players, Kyle Walker and Danilo, could make that first team right back spot their own, but until I know that for sure, Danilo's transfer just makes yesterday's video about Kyle Walker one that I would not take too much stock in, because who knows who will come out number one in this battle of the right backs at Manchester City. And now finally I get to talk about West Ham again. It seems like we have been so slow in the transfer market. The only team slower has been Tottenham Hotspurs. However, West Ham have now brought in Marko Arnautovic for 23 to 24 million. I've heard varying reports, and this is a player that I am optimistically excited about, purely because I feel like he is a good player. I just worry that he doesn't have the work rate necessary to be a great player. Now, if we can get the best out of him, Marko Arnautovic could be an absolute coup of a signing. There have been periods in the Premier League where Marko Arnautovic has looked really, really good, and periods in the FPL game where Marko Arnautovic has been a cheap player that can get you points. If we look at last season, while the stats aren't great, there are signs there that he could be an important player in the 2017-2018 season. He had 32 appearances and got 6 goals and 5 assists. His shots per game was at 1.9 and his key passes was at 1.6. Man of the match awards, that's one man of the match award for the whole year last season, and he got a 6.84 average rating, which is pretty poor. But if he is played up front, I'm not sure in the game if he is or isn't. Let me check. Now the plus side to this is Marko Arnautovic is rated at 7 million in transfer value in the FPL game, and his class as a midfielder. There's the possibility he plays up front. If that is the case, he could be a great out of position player at a club that have a lot to prove this season after last season went really wrong, especially at the beginning, despite the fact there were massive hopes for the club in general. So guys, that is the end of this FPL transfer window. Make sure in the comments down below to leave your thoughts on the players I've talked about. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. Also hit that like button and hit that notification bell if you want to be told when there is an FPL video coming out on the channel. Feel free to check out the links in the description down below if you want to support the channel. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.